When I bought my first motorhome, I thought I had it all figured out. I'd done the research, watched the videos, toured the models. You know the drill. But the truth is, there's a huge difference between what you think you know and what you learn the hard way out on the road. Some of it cost me time, some of it cost me money, and some of it nearly ruined a trip or two. So in this video, I'm laying it all out. The 20 things I really wish someone had told me before I bought my first motorhome. Whether you're just starting your search or already deep into shopping, these tips could save you a whole lot of headaches. And maybe even help you avoid buying the wrong rig altogether. Let's jump in. The most expensive mistake you can make with a motorhome is underestimating the damage water can do. Before I bought mine, I didn't think twice about the roof. I was too busy checking out the kitchen and slide-outs. Big mistake. Water intrusion is the silent killer of RVs. It doesn't matter how great the layout is if water has seeped into the walls, ceiling, or floor. That kind of damage can cost thousands to repair, and will only get worse over time. Roof seals, caulking around vents, and seam lines all need to be inspected regularly, and especially before buying. Even a hairline crack in the wrong place can let in water. And by the time you notice the soft spot, it's already done its damage. These rigs go through all kinds of weather and vibration from travel, which wears out seals quicker than you'd think. Always climb up and inspect the roof yourself or pay someone to do it. A pretty motorhome with a bad roof is a money pit waiting to happen. Here's something I didn't know until I had a blowout on the side of I-10. RV tires age out even if they look brand new. I bought my motorhome from a private seller who assured me the tires were in great shape because they had plenty of tread. And they did. But what he didn't mention, and what I didn't know to ask, was how old they were. Tires have a manufacturing date stamped on them, and most manufacturers recommend replacing them every 5 to 7 years regardless of tread wear. RVs sit a lot, and sun exposure plus lack of movement breaks down the rubber faster than you'd think. A tire might look fine on the outside but be ready to fail internally. When one of mine blew, it tore up the fender, damaged the undercarriage, and nearly cost me control of the vehicle. Now I check the DOT date on every tire and budget for new ones if they're over 5 years old. Trust me, new tires are cheaper than emergency roadside repairs and bodywork. The way a motorhome looks from the outside won't matter much if the inside doesn't work for your lifestyle. I learned that the hard way. My first rig had a bed jammed in the corner where I had to crawl over my spouse to get out, a dinette I never used, and a kitchen with zero counter space. After a few trips, I realized I hated the layout. You spend most of your time inside the motorhome, especially during bad weather or long hauls, so the layout has to make sense for how you actually live. Walk through it like you would use it. Lie down on the bed, stand at the sink, sit at the table. Ask yourself if you can access everything with the slide-outs closed. A lot of folks get caught up in the bells and whistles, the big TV, the fireplace, the sleek decor, and forget to check if it's livable. Comfort and function matter more than shiny extras. If the layout doesn't feel right when it's empty, it definitely won't feel right when you're 3 days into a road trip. Bigger isn't always better. I learned that one pretty quickly. My first motorhome was a 36-footer, and while it looked impressive, driving it felt like piloting a school bus. Tight gas stations, small-town roads, national park campsites, all of them became a stressful challenge. Parking? Forget about it. And when you're exhausted after a long drive, the last thing you want to do is wrestle your rig into a tight spot. I started realizing I didn't need all that extra space and that a slightly smaller rig would have been way more practical. There's a trade-off between living space and driving comfort. If you plan to move around a lot and explore out-of-the-way places, smaller might be smarter. Something in the 25 to 30-foot range is often easier to handle without sacrificing too much space inside. Before you commit to a big rig, consider where you plan to travel and how comfortable you are behind the wheel. And if you've never driven something that size before, go rent one for a weekend. You'll figure out real quick if it's worth the hassle. Here's a number most first-time buyers overlook the Gross Vehicle Weight Rating, GVWR. I didn't even know what that was when I bought my first motorhome. Turns out, it's one of the most important specs to understand. Your GVWR tells you how much total weight your rig can safely carry. That includes the weight of the motorhome itself, plus passengers, gear, food, water, propane, and anything you might tow. I overloaded mine without realizing it. Between my tools, camping gear, full water tanks, and a towed vehicle, I was way over the limit. That puts extra stress on your brakes, transmission, and suspension. Not to mention, it's dangerous. Overloading can also void your warranty and insurance if something goes wrong. Make sure you know your numbers. GVWR, GCWR, Gross Combined Weight Rating, and tongue weight if you're towing. And don't rely on salespeople to explain it. Do your own research and maybe even take it to a weigh station once you're packed up. It's better to know before you hit the road than find out the hard way after something breaks. One of the hardest pills to swallow after buying my first motorhome was how fast it lost value. I went in thinking it was like buying a home on wheels, something I could enjoy now and still sell later without losing my shirt. That's not how it works. Motorhomes, especially when bought new, depreciate fast. We're talking $10,000, $20,000, even $30,000 gone in the first couple of years. By the time you've driven it off the lot and taken a few trips, the resale value has already dropped significantly. It's even worse if you finance it, because you could end up owing more than it's worth. Used rigs hold value a little better, but you still need to be realistic. The bottom line is this: a motorhome isn't an investment. It's a lifestyle purchase. You're paying for the experiences, the freedom, and the convenience, not for something that'll hold value long term. That doesn't mean it's a bad decision, just one you need to make with your eyes wide open. If resale is important to you, look for reputable brands, well-maintained units, and proven floor plans that other buyers will still want down the road. If I could go back, the very first thing I'd do before signing any paperwork is pay for a professional inspection. I skipped it because I figured I could spot any big issues myself. After all, I'm pretty handy. But motorhomes are complex machines. You're not just dealing with a vehicle. You're also dealing with plumbing, electrical systems, HVAC, propane, and appliances, all in one rolling package. The seller might not even know about hidden issues. In my case, I later discovered a hidden roof leak, a cracked gray water tank, and a refrigerator that only worked on shore power. All things a qualified inspector would have caught right away. And trust me, fixing those things cost way more than the inspection would have. Whether you're buying from a dealer or a private seller, always insist on an independent inspection, preferably by someone with RV-specific experience. Don't let the excitement of buying cloud your judgment. This isn't like buying a car. A few $100 for peace of mind is the best money you'll spend during the whole process. It might even save you from buying the wrong rig altogether. If you think owning a motorhome is just road trips and campfires, think again. Maintenance is a full-time side hustle, and repairs pop up more often than you'd like. My first season, I was shocked at how many little things broke. Drawer latches, water pump, slide motor, roof vent, propane regulator. And that's just off the top of my head. The thing is, everything in an RV gets shaken around constantly. It's like putting your house through a minor earthquake every time you drive. Screws come loose, seals wear out, systems fail. And then there's routine upkeep: oil changes, generator service, roof resealing, battery care, and winterizing. Even simple things like checking tire pressure and water tank levels take time and attention. If you're not a DIY type, this can get frustrating and expensive. Labor rates at RV repair shops aren't cheap, and turnaround times can be long, especially during peak season. That's why learning to do small repairs yourself is key. You don't have to be a mechanic, but a basic toolkit and YouTube tutorials will go a long way. The sooner you accept that maintenance is part of the lifestyle, the less it'll stress you out. When I bought my first motorhome, I budgeted for the purchase price, insurance, and fuel. What I didn't budget for were all the little, and not so little, costs that come with actually owning the thing. Storage fees were the first surprise. I couldn't park it at home because of HOA rules, so I had to rent a spot at a storage lot. Then came registration, which was a lot more than my pickup truck. After that, there were things like a surge protector, sewer hoses, leveling blocks, water filters, tire covers, and a bunch of tools I didn't own yet. And don't forget campground fees, tolls, generator fuel, propane refills, and tank chemicals. It all adds up fast. Plus, there's depreciation, maintenance, and repairs, which we've already talked about. But they're part of the total cost of ownership, too. I'm not saying it's not worth it, but you need to be realistic. The sticker price is just the beginning. If your budget is tight, look for ways to reduce those ongoing costs, like off-season travel, free camping, boondocking, or DIY upgrades. Otherwise, you might find yourself with a rig you love but can't afford to use. Unless you live out in the country or have a big open driveway, storing a motorhome can be a real pain. I learned this one the hard way. My plan was to park it at home, but once I actually brought it back, I realized it didn't fit in my driveway. Not lengthwise, and definitely not under the carport. Then I found out my neighborhood has HOA rules that don't allow RV parking longer than 48 hours. So off to a storage lot it went. That meant I had to drive across town just to prep for a trip, load gear, or do maintenance. It was a hassle every time. Indoor storage is expensive, and outdoor storage means more exposure to the elements, which speeds up wear and tear. And if you're on the road, you'll quickly learn not every gas station, restaurant, or campground is easy to park in, especially with a longer rig, or if you're towing. Always check height clearances, turn radiuses, and lot sizes before you pull in somewhere. Bottom line, figure out your parking situation before you buy. It's not just about where you go, it's about where you keep it when you're not going anywhere. If I could give just one piece of advice to someone thinking about buying their first motorhome, it would be this: rent before you buy. I dove in headfirst without ever spending a night in one, thinking I knew exactly what I wanted. Turns out what looks good on paper doesn't always feel good on the road. Renting gives you a hands-on trial, not just for driving and parking, but for living in the space. You'll find out what floor plan suits you best, how much room you really need, and what features are essential versus nice-to-haves. You'll also get a feel for systems like the dump station, water hookup, power management, and propane use. That experience is gold. After a rental weekend, you'll walk into the dealership with way more confidence, and probably a better idea of what you actually want to spend. It might cost a few $100 up front, but it can save you thousands by helping you avoid buying the wrong rig. Even if you think you're sold on a certain model, test it first. You'll either confirm your choice or change your mind completely. Either way, it's worth it. One of the biggest rookie mistakes I made was focusing more on the interior than what was under the hood. I was excited about the floor plan, colors, and how comfy the captain's chairs looked. What I didn't think about enough was the engine and chassis. These are the backbone of the whole motorhome. If they're unreliable, it doesn't matter how nice the rest of it is. Diesel versus gas, Ford versus Chevy versus Freightliner. These are big decisions that impact everything from fuel economy to maintenance costs to how well your rig handles on the road. Some engines are workhorses known to last well beyond 150,000 miles. Others have a history of transmission issues or overheating. Same goes for the suspension. Ride quality can vary drastically between chassis types. I've since learned to look at forums, owner reviews, and service records before buying. If you're not mechanically inclined, bring someone who is or get a mechanic's opinion. Remember, a beautiful motorhome that's always in the shop is just a very expensive driveway ornament. Prioritize reliability and ease of service over frills and flash. You'll thank yourself later. You'd be amazed how many people buy a motorhome without ever driving it. I was almost one of them. I walked through a dozen models at the dealership, found one that felt like the one, and was ready to sign. Then a buddy said, "Did you drive it yet?" That simple question changed everything. I took it for a spin and immediately noticed how loud it was on the highway, how it swayed in the wind, and how uncomfortable the driver's seat felt after just 30 minutes. It totally changed my mind. Driving a motorhome is not like driving a car or even a pickup truck. The visibility, turning radius, acceleration, braking, it all feels different, especially with a longer rig. You need to get a feel for how it handles, how it sounds at cruising speed, and how confident you feel behind the wheel. Also, test it in real conditions. Get on the freeway, make tight turns, back it up. Don't let a dealer rush you into skipping the drive. If they hesitate to let you take it out, that's a red flag. Test driving should be a non-negotiable part of your buying process. One of the most confusing parts of owning a motorhome, and one I completely ignored at first, is the electrical system. Between batteries, generators, shore power, inverters, converters, and solar setups, there's a lot going on. I assumed it worked like my house, flip a switch and stuff turns on. Not quite. Some outlets only work on shore power. The microwave might not run off batteries. You might trip breakers just by running the AC and the toaster at the same time. And if you don't understand how your battery bank works, you could easily drain it and damage the system. The first time I tried boondocking, I ran out of juice in a single night. That's when I started learning about amp hours, inverter wattage, and how much power each appliance draws. If you plan to camp off-grid, understanding your setup is even more important. Even if you're mostly staying at full hookup sites, knowing how to manage your power keeps everything running smoother and safer. So take the time to learn it. Read your manual, watch videos, ask other owners. Electrical problems can be a real headache, but they're avoidable if you know what you're working with. If you're thinking about buying a motorhome, get ready to see your fuel budget take a hit. A big one. I knew they weren't fuel efficient, but I was still surprised at just how thirsty these things are. Depending on your rig, you might be looking at anywhere from 6 to 10 miles per gallon. Towing a vehicle? Drop that number even more. Driving through the mountains or into a headwind? It gets worse. I didn't plan for that when I bought mine, and those gas station receipts started adding up fast. Fuel is one of the biggest recurring costs of RV travel, and it's not something you can skimp on. Planning longer stays and shorter travel legs helps stretch your budget. Also, keeping your rig well maintained, clean air filters, proper tire pressure, and regular oil changes can make a small but noticeable difference in mileage. Some folks opt for diesel engines for slightly better efficiency and torque. But even then, it's nothing like a commuter car. The key is to expect it, plan for it, and not let it ruin your experience. After all, the journey is part of the adventure, even if it costs you at the pump. When I bought my first motorhome, I imagined pulling into any campground, plugging in, and kicking back. What I didn't realize was how many sites just aren't built for larger rigs. Some state parks, older campgrounds, and especially spots in national parks have length restrictions. Some top out around 25 to 30 feet. My 35-footer didn't fit in more places than I care to admit. Even when it did fit, hookups weren't guaranteed. Some sites only have 30 amp power, some none at all. Water and sewer connections can be far from your designated spot, meaning extra hose lengths are a must. And don't count on Wi-Fi or cell service in remote areas. If you're boondocking, you'll need to manage your own water, waste, and power, which is a whole different ballgame. Before you hit the road, always research campground size limits and amenities. Apps like Campendium and RV Life Trip Wizard can help. If you're driving a larger motorhome, plan ahead and book early. Trust me, you don't want to roll in late to a campground only to find your rig won't fit. It's not just about owning the RV, it's about knowing where you can actually use it. No matter how loaded your motorhome is when you buy it, upgrades and mods are going to happen. It's just part of RV life. I thought I was buying a turnkey setup, but within the first year I was adding solar panels, upgrading batteries, changing out mattresses, swapping out light fixtures, installing vent covers, adding storage organizers, and more. The factory setups are usually the bare minimum. fine for a weekend trip but not ideal for regular or long-term travel. For example, the stock mattress in most rigs is awful. Same goes for kitchen faucets, plastic toilets, and standard blinds. If you plan to boondock, solar and lithium batteries quickly become a must. Even basic creature comforts like better seating or blackout shades can make a huge difference. And then there are functional upgrades like tire pressure monitoring systems, backup cameras, and surge protectors. All essential in my opinion. Budget at least a few $1,000s for these upgrades. Some you'll do right away. Others will come after a few trips when you realize what's missing. It's all part of making the space truly yours, and making it work for how you travel. If you're not handy when you buy a motorhome, you're either going to learn fast or spend a lot on service calls. I'm not talking about engine rebuilds or rewiring the whole rig. I mean the small everyday fixes that come with owning something that moves, shakes, and vibrates down the road. Cabinet latches break, screws back out, fittings loosen, water pumps clog, slide-outs stick, and it always seems to happen in the middle of a trip, far from the nearest RV shop. The more you can handle yourself, the more time and money you'll save. I started with the basics, carrying a toolkit, spare fuses, a multimeter, zip ties, and sealant. YouTube became my best friend. Over time, I got comfortable with minor plumbing, 12-volt electrical work, and sealing roof seams. I'm not a mechanic by any stretch, but being able to troubleshoot and patch things up until I get home has saved countless trips from disaster. Plus, many mobile RV techs are booked out for weeks. You can't always wait. So if you're thinking of getting into motorhomes, get comfortable with a screwdriver and a flashlight. It's not a luxury hobby, it's a hands-on lifestyle. When it comes time to sell your motorhome, not all rigs hold value equally. I didn't realize this when I bought my first one, but resale value depends on more than just age and mileage. Brand reputation matters. Certain manufacturers are known for quality and hold their value better. Layout plays a big role too. Floor plans with walk-around beds, separate bathrooms, and slide-outs tend to be more popular, especially in smaller rigs. Upgrades like solar, lithium batteries, and modern appliances can bump up your asking price, but only if they're done well. On the flip side, weird mods, pet damage, smoke odors, or neglected maintenance records will tank your resale fast. Keeping everything clean and documented helps when it's time to list. Also, timing matters. Try selling in spring or early summer when demand peaks. The more you take care of your rig, the more you'll get back from it. But always remember, RVs are depreciating assets. You likely won't recoup everything, but smart choices early on, from brand and layout to how well you maintain it, can make a big difference in how much money you walk away with down the road. When I started out, I figured I'd just Google things when I had questions. But I quickly found that online RV communities are worth their weight in gold. Forums like IRV2, Facebook groups, and subreddits like RE Motorhomes and RE RVE Living are full of seasoned owners who've been through it all. These folks can give real, honest advice, not the kind you get from salespeople. Whether you're trying to figure out how to winterize your rig, troubleshoot a weird electrical issue, or find the best route through the Rockies, chances are someone else has been there and shared their experience. These communities also help you feel less alone when things go wrong. Because they will go wrong. I've saved time, money, and headaches just by reading other people's questions and solutions. Plus, you can get recommendations for gear, mods, campgrounds, and boondocking spots that you won't find in any manual. If you're new to the lifestyle, spend some time reading, asking questions, and getting involved. It's one of the best learning tools out there. And it's free. The RV community may be spread out across the country, but online, it's one of the most helpful, welcoming groups you'll find. So there you have it. 20 hard-earned lessons I wish someone had told me before I bought my first motorhome. Don't get me wrong, owning a motorhome has brought me some of the best memories of my life. But it also came with a few surprises and a few mistakes I could have avoided with just a little more knowledge up front. Hopefully this list gives you a head start. whether you're shopping for your first rig or just trying to avoid some of the common pitfalls. Do your research, ask questions, and take your time. The right motorhome can open up a whole new world of freedom and adventure, but only if it fits your needs, your lifestyle, and your budget. If this helped you out, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more tips, walkthroughs, and honest takes from life on the road. And if you've already been through the motorhome buying process yourself, drop a comment below and let me know what you wish you knew before you got started. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you out there on the road.